Hello lovely people, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make some oven roasted stuffed fish ROMA'S kitchen style. So if you want to see how this gets made, stick around right after this intro.
Can't cook. Think you you pay your pretty look. You want to live a restaurant and come done man bank book. Cook, recipe book.
Alright, so to start, I'm going to be preparing the stuffing at first, and I'm going to be using some mustard greens. I'm only going to be using like 3 leaves from the mustard greens, and I'm also going to be using some bok choy, and you can substitute both of these for callaloo. So here I have the seasonings that I'll use, and here I went ahead and I cut the mustard greens and the bok choy up. So now here in my pot, I'm going to add just a tablespoon of olive oil, and my pot is over low heat. So I'm going to go in with the vegetables a little at a time while the pot is still on low heat. First I'm adding in some red and green bell peppers. And next I'm going to go in with some tomato. And for this stuffing you can add as much as you'd like. Next I'm going to go in with some scallion or green onion. Next I'm going in with some carrots, and my pot is still over low heat, so now I'm just going to saute these just for a few minutes, about 3 minutes, because I don't want them to get too soft or anything. So keep that pot over low heat. Now it's time to add in the washed greens, and I'm just going to add that all in. And this reminds me a lot of callaloo. I would prefer to use callaloo, but I also love the taste of this, so I used it, and I don't have access to callaloo. So if you're using callaloo, you just give it the same treatment as this. So I'm just moving everything around here, and then I'm also going to be adding in some okras to this. And if you like okras, you can go ahead and add as much as you'd like, but I'm adding here 3 okras. I just sliced them into some small pieces. So I'm going to be moving them around again. Then I'm going to season, and to season this, all I'm going to add is a teaspoon of salt first. Then I'm going to add a pinch of all-purpose seasoning, and also 1 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves. If you have fresh thyme, go ahead and just add a little stalk in it. And the water that you're seeing right now in the pot is from the greens, because I washed them before I add them to this. So that's the water that you're actually seeing right now in the pot, which is perfect. Here I'm just adding a little black pepper. You can add like a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So I've also added just a little cock soup to this. If you know cock soup, that's just to get those little noodles in there. Now everything is in. I'm going to move this around for the final time. My pot is still over low heat, and then I'm just going to cover this and leave it to steam for just about 5 minutes. And 5 minutes later, voila, this is all good. I'm going to leave this to cool, because you want this to cool down just a bit before you actually add it to your fish. So I'm going to leave this to cool and move on to seasoning my fish. So to season my fish, I have here 1 tablespoon of fish seasoning, a teaspoon of salt, onion powder, garlic powder, ginger powder, and black pepper. And I also went ahead and I made some slices on the fish. So you want to ensure that you have 2 slices on one side, 2 slices on the next side, and you rub your seasoning between those slices. And also you ensure that inside your fish is filled with the seasoning as well. So on both sides, ensure that you cover it with the seasoning, the dry rub, and you cover inside as well with the dry rub. In the head, everywhere on your fish should be filled with that dry seasoning rub. Now you want to get some foil paper, big enough to hold your fish. My fish weighs a little over 1 pound. First things first, you want to add some melted butter. I'm using unsalted butter. You want to add that to your foil paper because you don't want your fish to stick to your foil paper or anything like that. Plus it will give your fish some nice flavor anyways. So just rub your butter all over your foil paper, or at least the area in which your fish will be resting. Now I'm just going to place the fish right on top of the butter and the buttered part of the foil, and then I'm going to be adding some melted butter right on top of my fish because I want that nice flavor not just on the bottom of the fish but also on the top of the fish. So I'm just going to brush on some butter on that real quick. So the fish is ready to go. Now onto the stuffing. This is it. It's nice and cool and it is smelling good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open the fish and I'm just going to fill it up with the stuffing. With the vegetables that I cooked before, I'm just going to fill it up all on the inside, straight up to the head of the fish. I'm going to make sure that it has all the filling. You can also add the fish, rest the fish on top of the filling, but I prefer to have some inside and then some to the side. So I'm just going to put as much as can holding it in the head, all in. And that's enough, so I'm just going to place the rest just to the side, like right in front of it there. So now I'm going to move on to covering the fish, and you want to ensure that this is properly sealed so when it goes in the oven it cooks right. So I'm going to fix my foil and ensure that it's sealed completely. The ends should look something like this and your fish should be fully sealed. Then you are going to place your fish in your oven on a rack so that the air gets to go all around it for 40 minutes on 375 degrees. And about that time, here is my fish in my foil. It is steamy, smelling good, ready to be eaten. You can serve it like this or you can serve it on a nice plate just for the sake of presentation. But either way, this fish was so yummy, so good. So of course guys, if you like the video, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to the channel and turn your post notifications on. Until next video.